All right, so first of all, there's no magic lead, okay? I wish there was. I looked for them. I tried a lot of different lead options with a lot of different companies. I concluded that all leads suck. Every single lead sucks if the appointment's not made. It's that old saying, like, it's not the arrow, it's the Indian. So much of it has to do with you and you contacting these leads and you following your script and also making sure that you have the right tonality with these people. A lead is a lead is a lead. And it just comes down to being able to have somebody to get in contact with. I've tried mailers, I've tried different instant internet life leads, I've tried Facebook leads, I've tried them all. And the thing that I realize is I've gotten deals from all of them. So they all work. And at the same time, you got to remember that every single lead source, you're going to have disconnect. You're going to have people that aren't interested. Nobody's going to answer the phone and you start talking to them and they say, well, because I'm from this particular lead source, I'm actually pretty interested. It just doesn't happen, okay? People are people. My advice on leads, however, is to not try and find that magic lead source and not try and find that one specific magic lead because it doesn't exist. Instead, just look for a wide variety and a diversified amount of leads and all different kinds of leads because they all work. The more you get, the merrier. And you want to be in a situation where you have you leads, okay? It's almost like you money, but you have you leads where you're not sitting there and you have 10 leads and it's do or die, okay? Because then after you dial that third lead and that fourth lead bank is just going lower and lower and lower on one hand, but on the other hand, your stress and your frustration and your pressure is getting higher and higher and higher. You want to be able to say, you know what? You're not interested? That's fine, okay? Don't actually say customers. This is just in my head. Instead of me saying I'm because that's what a lot of people do. They're sitting there, they've dialed 3, 4, 5, 6 leads. Maybe they didn't get anybody to pick up the phone. Maybe somebody picked up the phone and they had amnesia and they don't remember filling anything out. And then all of a sudden you get to that point where you're like, oh my God, I've been through X amount and I don't have an appointment yet. I'm f***ed. Me. You don't want to get there. You want to be in a position where you could say, all right, you next. Right? This is like a barber shop, a long line of people where it's just, all right, next, all right, next, all right, next. Some will, some won't, so what? So you just want to have enough leads, first of all, so that you don't have to be in that situation where it's do or die on every single phone call. The more people you got to talk to, the more opportunity you have to get a hold of people. The more people you get a hold of, the more appointments you could book. The more appointments you book, the more sales, the more money, and it just goes on and so forth. I love instant internet life leads. I think they're awesome. You don't have to beat around the bush. They know it's life insurance. When I'm looking for those, I'm looking for at least a batch of 30 to 40 of those, okay? So whatever area I could find 30, 40, 50 instant internet life leads in an area, that's where I'm going, okay? I'm not in love with a particular area. These are business meetings, right? This is your own business. So sometimes when you're a businessman or a businesswoman, you need to travel for your business meetings. And then what I'll do is I'll get maybe 20 fresh leads, whether it's a Facebook campaign or any fresh lead, badass leads, at least 20, 25, 30 fresh leads. And the rest will just be second chance leads. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for 100 leads that I could dial and get at least 10 to 15 appointments over the next 2 days. So whatever I got to do blend wise to get 100 leads, where 100 is enough for me to do what I got to do. I don't want to go over 100. And I know it might sound kind of contradicting what I said earlier, but as far as having more leads, you want to have more leads, but more than 100 winds up being just a little too much. You know, you wind up looking at a pile of 300 leads and you're saying, you know, I got to climb Mount Everest here. But 100 leads, I could deal with 100 leads. You can go hard. I can go hard on 100 leads, but more than 100 leads, you start getting in a burnout zone. So I want a good quantity of leads. At the same time, I want the right balance where I have the right quality of leads. And I find that the right mixture between quantity and quality, it's 100 leads in a dial session. So if I can't get my 10 to 15 appointments over the next 2 days on 100 leads, I got to change up the blend. And it works. The thing that I learned is like when I first started, I used exclusively second chance leads. And for a lot of agents that are new, you don't have $700, you don't have $1,000 necessarily to start off with. So let's say you have $200, $150, $300. You could get started with that, but it's probably going to be second chance leads. So the second chance leads are good because you have enough of them that you could dial, you could practice, you could get good with. But then what happened was I evolved, because you want to take your first commission or 2 commissions and right away flip it into more leads. Okay, the whole thing about this is you want to start off with a smaller budget investment in leads. But as you get deals, you want to reinvest, and you don't want to be afraid to do that. A lot of people are afraid to reinvest in more leads, and you have to reinvest and be consistent, but you want to slowly increase your lead budget and start getting more fresh leads and more of a diverse selection of different types of lead. And then you got to remember, there's a different pitch for different types of leads. So the mistake that I made was I got really, really good at dialing second chance leads. So good that people that were veterans, they hadn't dialed second chance leads in a while, they're just buying fresh leads, would contact me and say, hey man, what's your pitch for second chance leads? These leads that are 6 months old, a year old. And I had a pretty good pitch that worked with them. And then I went and I bought $1,000 in fresh leads, and it was a disaster. And I said to myself, my God, I'm doing better on leads where I spend $300, $350 for 100 of them than $1,000 on fresh lead. And I blamed the leads. I said, oh, it was this company, they have bad leads, these people aren't really interested, I'm just better off buying cheaper leads. Obviously I wasn't taking responsibility and I wasn't taking accountability, and until I realized that, well, maybe I got to change up my pitch. Different lead sources, you have to have a different pitch that you use for these people to be able to be successful.